Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new video where I paint this piece which I have titled, How Do I Become a Leaf? I always forget to introduce myself in my own videos, so here I am. My name is Sophie McPike. I'm an artist and I am based in Melbourne, Australia. I love paint, I love colours, I love curvy, swervy lines and bodies and rhythm and flow in artworks and storytelling elements as well. So this piece, I did something a little bit different. I actually sketched it out in my iPad and then I took the sketch and I printed it onto a piece of watercolor paper, made sure I made the transparency really, really low and kind of a purple because I knew my base color, I knew that I wanted to make my base color kind of purple. So that has been a bit of a revelation to me to learn that I can actually print my sketches onto the watercolor paper. It's blown my mind and it's skipped a really messy step as well. Like I don't have to do the whole rub charcoal or pencil on the back of my sketch and then transfer over. I can just print directly onto a piece of paper. Like what are rules? What are rules anyway? So yeah, I've been loving that and it's been really, really helpful. So I recommend you give it a go as well. But yeah, so the materials I'm using today are acrylic gouache by the Holbein brand. And these are my favorite. I mean, I talk about them all the time in every single video. It's all I've been using for the last 2 years. It took me so long to get into gouache. I tried them for the first time in high school and hated them instantly, didn't understand them instantly, and was very much a watercolor girly for a long, long time. And I would always be, I love watercolors and I still love watercolors, but I would always be a little frustrated by how they weren't as pigmented as I wanted them to be. Like if you know me, you know how much I love color and how much I really like to push color and make everything as vibrant as possible. So years later, I tried gouache again and it blew my socks off. I loved it. I understood it instantly for some reason. I think maybe I just wasn't ready for it. You know how sometimes you try things and you're not ready for them yet? I feel like that's what it was like for me with gouache. It took me a while to be ready for it. And yeah, it opened the floodgates and it's like my favorite thing ever. I love acrylic gouache because it dries dry. You can't reactivate it the same way you can reactivate watercolors or traditional gouache. Because I am someone who loves to paint and create illustrations and paintings intuitively without much planning, I do a lot of layers and I change my mind a lot. So the fact that I can just paint straight over sections with new colors and stuff without it activating and getting all muddy and messy, it works for me and I love it. So this piece is sort of like an offshoot of the collection I did last year, Adventures Over Leaves. I don't know, it's just diving into that storytelling a little bit more. So this is a character who lives amongst the leaves and she wants to be a leaf. And so there she is kind of just peering, exploring and looking closely at a bunch of leaves and thinking, I want to be a leaf too. Oh, the life of a leaf. So that was my feeling coming into making this illustration. And I mentioned before that I sketched it out on the iPad first. And this isn't usual for me. I don't usually do that. I usually will just do a tiny little thumbnail or two in my sketchbook, but this was actually a sketch for a client job which I did, which I can't really tell you about now. You'll have to wait a little bit longer before I can announce what that is. But this was one of the rejected illustrations. So I was like, I'm not gonna waste this illustration, I'm gonna turn it into an artwork because I really, really liked it. I love the one that they chose, but I also really, really liked this one. So I'm excited to be able to make it a reality. And that's why I sketched on the iPad first, because I had to share with the client my sketches, and they chose one out of the 3 sketches that I did. But you've probably seen in past videos that this isn't something I usually do. So I feel like it was easier for me through this painting. Like I had less mind changes and less composition changes because I had already worked all of that stuff out first. I guess that's the pros of sketching and planning an artwork, which I really never have time to do. I'm the kind of person that's like, I just want to get in there and I want to paint right now. I don't want to plan anything. I just want to see what happens. And maybe sometimes planning is good for me. I don't know. It just doesn't come naturally to me. I just like, work intuitively most of the time. I originally also was going to go into this one and have more of a painterly look to it, but you'll see at the end I end up doing a bunch of line work and outlines and stuff. I don't know, as I worked on it, it just felt like it needed it. A lot of the colors have a very similar tonal value, which means if you convert it into black and white, or if someone's a little bit colorblind, they won't be able to define the colors very clearly. So I was like, I need to do outlines so everyone can get the most out of this illustration, whether they can see all the colors as much as I can or not. And I don't know, I was in a slow mood the day that I painted this. Sometimes I rush things and I get messy and I get scribbly, but I was sort of in a meditative state, a meditative flow when doing this, and I just wanted to keep adding and adding to it. So I feel like adding the line work later on, just really went with how I was feeling that day. There, I followed my intuition with that. That's one thing that I didn't plan on doing, but ended up doing in the end. I was really happy with it. It felt a little bit like paint by numbers as I was doing this piece, because I started with one color, and when I finished filling in all of that color, I went to the next color. So every time I added a new color, it was very exciting, and yet it just felt like I was coloring in the lines, which is something I'm not used to, but it was nice because I didn't have to use my brain as much. It was less exhausting to paint, maybe I should say, because of the plan. But it was really satisfying to just go color by color, because in the sketch that I originally produced for the client, I included a color palette variation, and this was pretty similar to that color palette that I had suggested in my sketch. So it was really easy to not overthink and to just kind of copy what was in front of me. There's a couple of shots where you can see me looking to my side, and that's because I had the reference up on my computer at my side, so I could just remember what colors everything was as I was going. I'm a big fan of maximalism. Obviously, I love filling each page with every detail I can. As many leaves as I can, as many shapes as I can, but still creating like a harmonious flow, a harmonious composition. And that's with a color palette as well. Sometimes I go over the top with my colors. I like to put as many colors as I can in while still looking harmonious. But this one, it was really fun to like strip back and have a bit more of a very clear color palette. How many colors are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or 8 colors in this piece. Really like the way this brown works with everything. It gives it kind of a 60s, 70s color palette vibe, and you know, I love that era. I love the colors of that era. So yeah, I love the retro vintage look of the color palettes of the 60s and 70s. So I feel like using a brown for the shadows and the outlines was the right choice for the vibe of this piece. It's like poppy and colorful, but also a bit muted and soft. I feel like the brown kind of softens it a bit. If I was using a black outline, I feel like it would be too harsh. Plus, I'm a big fan of brown. I love brown. It's one of my favorite colors in the whole world, because it's all the colors. It's the color of nature. I love brown. So this artwork is actually this month's Patreon reward, and I'm so excited. I designed the sticker as well. I designed the sticker later in Photoshop. I sort of cut up elements of the painting, of the scan of the painting, and turned it into a little sticker. It's gonna look so good, and the print looks great, and you can get these goodies anytime this month if you sign up to be an Orange Bird tier member. You'll get these in your little letterbox. I ship them out at the end of every month or the beginning of the following month. So anytime during April, if you want this print and sticker, that's your best time and best price to get these goodies. And this was one of my favorite parts, the very end, when I started like cutting in with this light cream color to sort of brighten everything up, and paint over some of the bits of sketch and some of the bits of mess that I made while I was going. Really, really satisfying part. And I wasn't too particular about this. I didn't mind if there were bits of purple showing through the cream. I think it looks really nice. So it still has that painterly look, with a bit of like a chalkiness to it. But the cream kind of pops everything out. It makes everything almost look like a vector, I thought. Like it looks like digital art almost. But yeah, it's just like a great big juicy sticker or something like that. Really satisfying to do. And yeah, and this is the final artwork. I hope you like it. It's gonna look so good as a double-sided mini print. On the back is like all the sketchbook stuff that is related to the final piece, and there's going to be a really beautiful vinyl sticker to match for those who want to get this as a Patreon reward this month only. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Okay, see ya. Bye. Toodaloo.